Hi Mhairi, and thanks for agreeing to share your experiences and your views with us. Do you want to start by telling us who you are and give us a bit of background about yourself?
Well, my name's Mhairi Black, I'm 20 and I'm in my last year at Glasgow University doing politics. I've always been politically active and that's as interesting as it gets so far.
You were obviously really involved and extensively campaigned, etc. during the Yes campaign. Can you tell us a bit more about that, what you were involved with, etc.?
Well, it started when SNP were elected in 2011 in style, and I thought if there's any time to join a party, now's the time to do it. So it started off just really basic stuff, out in the street, leafleting, in the days when nobody cared about it. And from that it just naturally progressed into canvassing, and then I had the opportunity of speaking at public meetings and things. And from that I had the privilege of speaking alongside Jim Sillars at one point. And from that, me and him ended up started chatting, and he invited me to be part of his campaign team on the Margot Mobile. So that was brilliant, going all around Scotland for the last 7-8 weeks of the referendum.
Must have been really exciting.
Oh, it was superb.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Obviously the result was a big disappointment for everybody that was involved, you, me and
Yes,
absolutely everybody. Tell us exactly how you felt when the result came in and what you were thinking.
Well, to be honest, when the result, we knew we'd lost before, because I was at the county in Renfrewshire, and we knew we'd lost before Renfrewshire actually declared. And I don't just mean in Renfrewshire, I mean the whole referendum. We thought that we've lost it here. So to be honest, I was just really numb for that period. I mean, it was up to 4 in the morning, you were knackered, absolutely scunnered, and every emotional and imaginable. But the one that stands out was anger, real anger and resentment at, in particular, the Labour Party, because I thought that they had conned so many people into believing that this union was actually better for us when there was no truth in that. So it was anger.
And since that, given that there's a wee bit of time's passed, have those feelings or views changed or developed any since then?
Yes, they have, because where immediately after the result it was bitterness, it was real, it was nasty. If you ask me to describe a no vote,
there's a lot of bleeps involved.
But, yes. But I think now I'm still just as angry, but the difference is it's directed now. And as I say, the Labour Party in particular, mainstream media, all these companies, your Asda's, your B&Q's, all these people that participated in scaring people, which is unforgivable in my eyes, scaring the most vulnerable people into thinking their lives would be worse off, and in actual fact they were going to be far better. So that's been the development, and I've now realised that a lot of no voters were just as cheated as the rest of us, because they were conned, they were also terrorised the same way we were. So.
And do you think that that's part of the reason for there being a massive increase in support for the other independence-minded parties such as the Greens, the SNP obviously?
Well, I think people are just angry. Well, in fact, tell a lie, there's two parts to it. One is they're angry and they want to do something and they want their voices heard. But the other thing is that the unique thing about the Yes campaign was they had an argument. When you look at the no side, it was all wishy-washy. It was all, this might happen, that might not happen. What about British nationalism, the welfare state, post-war? It was all this guff that was coming out, whereas the Yes side had solid arguments, and that had politicised people. So this surge in membership, I think, comes from the fact that people are now politically active and they now understand what joining a party means. They understand the importance of it and playing your part in politics.
Do you think they'll bring that energy into those parties that they've joined now?
Well, no party can avoid it. I mean, one of the best things about the SNP at the minute is, in fact, in all the independence parties, is that these people that have joined aren't traditional SNP voters or traditional Greens. These are people who have never been into politics. These are Labour supporters. These are folk that are angry. And it was, somebody put it to me and I thought it was brilliant, that obviously I was in the SNP before the referendum. I'm now the minority in my own party, which is brilliant. We've got all this new passion, new energy coming in. So it's great. It can only enhance all this energy and debate and everything. It's all positives.
So, I mean, given you know, that you were so outspoken and became sort of relatively well known during the referendum campaign. What do you think your role might be in the upcoming Westminster elections?
I think it's really just important for all Yes campaigners to just keep going. I mean, that's the thing that's impressed me so much. I've actually surprised myself. I thought if it's a no vote, that I'm off the face of the earth for at least a month.
I had that.
But I think every year someone had that. But it's the exact opposite. You know, if you're an outsider looking at this, you'd have thought the Yes side would have won. You know, you've got the No side falling to bits. You know, even the Labour Party aren't better together. And yet the Yes side is just so vibrant. So I think our role is to carry on educating people, because the important thing to remember is that this missing million, you know, the poorest in society, they turned out to vote, and they voted with us, they voted for Yes. So I think we all have a duty, I know that we are all passionate about it, of turning to that million and saying, you will not be forgotten again. We're going to keep doing this, and we're going to keep you updated on what's happening. Keep chatting your door, because you need to stick with us, because we're sticking with you. You know, that's the most important thing, that you can keep pushing out.
And what for you do you think will be the key issues in the Westminster election? You know, for example, things like Trident or Europe and things like that.
I think UKIP are going to be massive. You know, I was saying this to my dad, I never thought being proved right would feel so bad. That post a no vote, oh wait a minute, oil's not running out, we've still got it. UKIP now do have representation in our parliament. So I think in the run up to Westminster, the stark differences between Scotland and England, since it's the predominant bit of the UK, is so stark. You know, and you've not just got the Conservatives now trying to fight on UKIP's territory, they've now dragged Labour kicking and screaming into their territory as well. So we've got some of the most right-wing policies that Britain's seen in a long time. I mean, this is worse than Thatcher. You know, I never thought I'd say that. You know, it's worse than Thatcher. So I think these are key things that are going to need to be highlighted.
Do you feel that the SNP, being the largest Scottish party now, can have a big impact in Westminster and be able to push for a good deal for Scotland?
Yes, because I think that, in fact, somebody put it to me like this: Keir Hardie, his slogan was educate, agitate and organise, right? We've educated people, we need to keep educating them. By God, we've agitated people, we've agitated the whole establishment, now we get organised. And if we can unite that 45% vote to beat the first past the post system and send back a pro-independence party to Westminster, 20 plus seats, 30 plus seats, with the recent poll, I think it was over 40 or something like that.
It's about 45%.
If we can do that, then that's going to, I mean, we could potentially hold the balance of power. Now the reality is, because I understand not everybody is a supporter of the SNP, understandably, but I think that it's about recognising that in the vast majority of seats SNP are second, and if we're being tactical, because I mean Scotland threw away its political power on the 18th, but it didn't throw away its electoral power. So if we can unite that vote and just send back, as I say, a pro-independence party, we could end up holding the balance of power and bargaining for whatever Scotland needs. You know, Scotland can't be forgotten.
At the moment, Scottish Labour are obviously going through, I suppose to put it mildly, a sticky time. Do you think that they've completely lost the trust of the Scottish people?
I think it's worse than that. I don't think they've just lost the trust of the people of Scotland, they've lost the trust of their own supporters, even the ones that voted no. I mean, I thought the most insulting thing Joanne Lamont could hit out with was that people in Scotland are not genetically programmed to make political decisions, but she's outdone herself, because the most insulting thing she's done is 5 weeks after that referendum, she's resigned as Scottish Labour because of the London connection, even though she spent the past 2 years terrifying people into keeping the London connection. How insulting is that to the Scottish population? So I think everybody has seen that. They've seen that Labour are more, I mean, in fact, I tell you, see when we were at the Renfrew account, obviously we lost, and the way it was laid out, we had to walk past all the Better Together mob, which was predominantly Labour, and we had to walk through these fat cat Labour councillors goading us, clapping like that in our faces, just, better luck next time, midnight, really, really goodness. And that just epitomises what's happened to the Labour Party. They are now more interested in getting one over an SNP than they are about representing people. And people can see that now. And what they're also going to notice is that Scottish Labour is a branch office. It is a branch of UK Labour. And UK Labour is going more and more right wing. As I say, it's being dragged to the ground of UKIP. Scottish Labour's coming with it, whether it likes it or not. Which leaves the only option for independence. So,
do you think she realised when she said that, those exact words that were basically, it's a branch office for London, do you think she realised the bigger implications and indications of what she was actually saying? That,
I don't know. I can't understand for the life of me what goes on in their heads. I don't understand how anybody who claims to be a champion of the poor can, when they're asked, do you want rid of Tories forever, they say with pride, no thanks. I don't understand. I will never get that. And I think it also highlights how, Jim Sillars actually said it to Ian Davidson, that Labour are intellectually bankrupt at the minute. They've got no fresh ideas. That it's just the old rhetoric. There's no real depth or quality to what they say. It's just turn out, vote for us, keep the Tories out.
The old habit.
Yeah, but that line's not going to work anymore because, as I say, they've been campaigning with the Tories for 2 years and they said no thanks when they got the chance to get rid of them.
Exactly. So. In what way do you think Scotland is different to the rest of the UK? And why specifically do you think Scotland should have its independence?
I think, well, in terms of the actual people in Scotland, I don't think that we're intrinsically different. I know there's some people that do, but I think people are just people, and I have just as much in common with people in Liverpool and Manchester and places like that. But where I think there is a difference is that Scotland is, predominantly made up of working class people. Not necessarily in income or anything, but working class values. And if we were independent, for the first time we would have a government that reflected those values, something that we can never have as part of this union. We are a minority in this union. And the other big difference is that, unlike Liverpool and Manchester, Scotland is a country. And if you think Scotland's a region, then I wouldn't even know where to start with you. You're never going to vote for independence. But even Alistair Darling and Gordon Brown, most people will agree, Scotland's a country. So where we should be independent isn't just because of the democratic deficit that Scotland has, but more importantly because it will give that missing million, the real working class, not just in principle, but in income, people living in poverty, the poorest and most vulnerable people, it will give them the voice. Democracy will be the way it should be, where your ballot does actually matter. So I think that's the biggest reason as to why we need to be independent.
The Holyrood elections are in 2016. Do you think if there's a strong vote for the SNP and say the Greens as well, because obviously they're in favour of independence, do you think that would then give a good opportunity for another referendum?
It would certainly highlight the support for it, but I think it's important to remember that the Scottish Parliament doesn't have the power to hold a referendum. That's what the Edinburgh Agreement was. It was the temporary transfer of that power, which just again highlights the problem that the Scottish people actually can't choose to hold a referendum on themselves, So in Westminster are never going to give us a referendum. They will never do it willingly because they expected that just to be a scoosh. They expected, don't be daft, nationalists, let them have their wee referendum. And if you even look at English newspapers, they thought it was a done deal right up until that last wee bit when the Three Stooges came running up. It suddenly then
panic set in.
That's it, exactly that, panic set in. So they're never going to do that again. And the only way they will do it is if somebody's twisting their arm, if somebody's making life difficult for them. And that's again why May is so important. As I said, the only way to beat first past the post is to unite the vote. And if we can send back that many SNP or pro-independence, but realistically that's SNP MPs to Westminster, that is the power to twist their arm and to get that other referendum, to hold them to account, all of these things. So in many ways May is just as important as the referendum.
Yeah. And finally, if you could wave a magic wand, or if you could have your crystal ball and say what you think the future's going to be and how you would like that future to be for Scotland, what would you see? I
think that, you know, there's some people who've said, don't worry, the next generation, they'll get independence, don't worry about it. I mean, even Alex Salmond said the dream will never die. I'm done dreaming. I'm not waiting another generation, right? And really, when you're talking to all these yes campaigners, as I say, the morale is stronger now than it was before, because before the referendum, people knew up here why we needed independence.
Yeah.
Now they feel it in there. You know, in fact, my mum said to me, obviously when I was heartbroken at the result, she said to me, see if you can ride this out, yous are unstoppable. And that's the thing, and I think within the no side, I mean, I was saying to you earlier on, me and my brother were wearing yes stuff, and a guy was giving us a hard time, and his actual words were, why don't you just go away? And the no side can feel how inevitable independence is. It's coming, and it's coming quick, because you've got 1.6 million people who want out this union, and the folk that voted no, there was a very small margin of them were passionate no's, like really small. Most of them were just scared. And once that fear has dissipated and they've seen we were right, come with us, we need independence, it will happen. And I think when we get independence, it's almost like this is a wee detour of what we were talking about. It's back onto that road and everything that we were planning to do on the 19th, which is building a fairer Scotland for everybody, using the powers to change people's lives for the better. So that's all I see for it.
Mhairi, thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks.